Fred Emich. He's going around John Miller and Adam Poland down the straightaway under the Sargento Bridge. Big run for him.
So what got you starting racing?
We sponsored a car in Pirelli World Challenge that Rob Holland drove, I think back in 2009, 2010. Started off with some track days that he did for us in lieu of a little bit of a sponsorship, and we actually sold him the car. And I just kind of got addicted from there, and you know, with some help from him and some other people, I kind of got into it, and that's the story.
That is going to hand over second to Fred Emich in that VW.
What's your favorite car you've driven so far racing?
I'm going to have to say my Volkswagen GLI.
When you said you sold them the car, what do you do when you're not racing?
So I'm a car dealer, so we have both a Volkswagen and Chevrolet dealership, myself, my father, and another business partner, and I run the Volkswagen store essentially.
And moving back up to the TC battle, and you see Fred Emich is right on the tail of Carl Thompson.
Right now I'm driving a Volkswagen Touareg, but I did get a little stint in a 2015 Volkswagen GTI, which I was super impressed with. They've done a fabulous job with that car.
Tell us about your current car. 2012
Volkswagen GLI, 2-liter turbo. You know, basically per the touring car rules, stock with the exception of suspension, brakes, and tires. And we run slightly different than the factory tune, and obviously straight back exhaust. We built it 303 Motorsports in Denver, Colorado, put it together, and it's really taken us, you know, this is our 3rd year in Pirelli World Challenge. 2+ years to kind of get it to speed and get it competitive with particularly, you know, Compass, who's been racing the Honda Civic SIs for so many years. So in a standing start, sitting there, usually visualize the start in terms of, you know, what's the optimal start, what if the guy in front of me stalls, or if there's a mistake, or if I make a mistake. So I'll visualize several different scenarios, kind of have a plan on where I want to go, but knowing that obviously that can change for, you know, unforeseen circumstances unless I'm in the front. Then at that point, you know, I take the revs to between 2,000 and 3,000 RPMs. I've had some delayed starts, so I'm now no longer looking at the revs. I'm just kind of listening for those, watching the lights. As soon as the lights go, trying to match up that clutch and go.
Here on board with Fred Emich as he comes across, gets the checkered flag.
What was that like getting your first Pirelli World Challenge race?
It was awesome. Yeah, I mean, the backstory to that made it, you know, even better. The fact that, you know, we were in Mid-Ohio, we had the speed there. Actually, going back to the first race that we raced this year in Road America, first race, I spun the car the first lap. I was in the rain, really nasty conditions. But, you know, I was making up time on the entire field and got up to 3rd, ended up losing the spot, the podium spot, and ended up 4th, but we knew we had the pace right there. And then the next race in the first lap had an incident, was out for the race. So going to Mid-Ohio, we had high hopes. In practice, we were fastest, just pushing the car a little through turn 1, got a couple wheels off and thought I kind of gently brought the car back. The car snapped on me, went to the inside of turn 1 at a very high rate of speed, and, you know, we wrecked the car to a point where we couldn't put it back together for the weekend, and actually had to hustle over a month to get the whole thing put back together. Had frame damage, new frame rails, stuff like that. So, you know, my crew worked, you know, over a really long period of time putting the car back together. They got the car looking great. We got up to Brainerd, ran the first couple test sessions, not really pushing the car in the rain, and then we got out there, you know, first dry test session, and blew the motor, had a fire in the engine bay. Our fire suppression system didn't work as planned, so we had decent fire damage. We had to put a new motor in. We actually had to take cars off a new GLI at the dealership, ship them overnight to Brainerd. These guys spent 9 hours putting the car back together, put it all back together. You know, next day go out, first race in Brainerd, have an issue with the tire, ended up 3rd, which we were still happy with, but, you know, certainly wasn't the pace of the car. So to put it all together the second race and win was just exceptional.
Fred Emich, you get your debut win. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Shout out to my crew. They did an amazing job. We had an engine failure at the beginning of the week, a fire in the car. They put the car back together. I think they got home about 4 a.m. We had some tire issues yesterday, and we just worked through it all. So thank you very much to my crew.
Who else do we have to thank?
I would thank my wife, my family. My wife lets me come out here despite having 1.5-year-old twins, which is quite the burden at home when I'm not there. Emich Volkswagen for letting me come out here and supporting me through this process.